So here's your options. So mobile, desktop, hardware, web. Really, mobile and desktop are pretty similar, right? Hardware is going to be a physical device. Web is going to be trusting a third party. Now, why might somebody choose, let's just treat mobile and desktop as the same. Why might somebody choose mobile and desktop? You don't have to download the blockchain? You would have to, especially in desktop. I suppose that could be a differentiating fact between desktop and mobile. Is mobile, you would not have to download the blockchain. It would hit it off the cloud. Go ahead.
With mobile and desktop, there's no third party. At least with desktop, there's no third party.
There's not a third party requirement.
Yeah.
I mean, almost always there's going to end up being a third party involved when we have to back it up, but there's not a third party requirement. Okay? So that would be a maybe a reason for desktop. Okay, what's the reason against desktop? Go ahead. Go.
If your desktop crashes, you lose your wallet.
Okay. So the side effect would be that you're responsible for backing it up. So, okay, did you have something different?
No.
Basically there. Okay. What about a hardware wallet? Go ahead.
It's like a USB that has your wallet on it.
Okay, what's a reason why you'd want to have one?
Because you actually physically have it.
Okay, it's like carrying around a real wallet, right? You don't have to have your wallet back at your desktop computer. You actually are physically carrying around a wallet. Okay, so a positive might be that you have direct control over it, right? What's a negative? You lose it, you lose it. Okay, and web. Why might somebody want a web-based wallet?
You can access it from pretty much anywhere.
Access it pretty much everywhere, anywhere.
You don't have to back it up. They do.
Don't have to back it up. What's kind of maybe related to those is convenience, right? That's kind of the access it anywhere, but it's thoughtless. You just log into a site. You've been doing that for years with Amazon and crap like that. Okay, what's a negative of a web-based one?
Third party involvement.
Okay, third-party involvement. Somebody might steal your crap. Blah blah blah. Okay, now just at the end of last class, we started. I think I have it up here. Looking at the JSON that we're going to get from Blockchain.info for a bunch of transactions. So we're going to pretend, at least for our starting point, that these are our votes. These are a bunch of transactions that went through. They're going to be different sizes, not important for this. We're just going to start making a mock-up of reading blockchain data, okay, as it's delivered to us from the blockchain, from Blockchain.info. So this is going to be the URL we are interested in. And we're going to write a simple little Java program initially for reading from this URL and just spitting it out to the screen. Then we're going to look at simple JSON, which is a JSON parser that exists. It's on code.google.com. We'll look at that for parsing it. Now understand we're actually solving a different and probably a simpler problem here than what we did is when we worked with Coinbase. When we worked with Coinbase, we were having to do all this authentication and creating SHA-256 encodings and signatures and all this stuff. This is just a public GET request. There's no authentication to this. Anybody can get this information. Okay? This is my wallet address. If you have my wallet address, you can publicly see all the coins that have gone to my wallet. Make sense? Now, one thing I just did is I broke the anonymous aspect of Bitcoin, right? Now all you know that this is at least one of my wallet addresses. Is that a big deal? No, it's knowledge that I'm allowed to give if I'd like, right? It doesn't give you access to my wallet or anything, but now you can put a name with an address. So we have this URL. Let's go ahead and get into Eclipse, and I'm going to create a new project for this. Create a new Java project. We're going to call this guy vote chain. Vote chain sounds, well, it doesn't sound stupid at least. All right, so vote chain. Oh, that's not what I want. I want a new class. And we'll make this our driver. All right, so that's our URL. And what we want to do is we want to use Java to build that URL and then actually read from that URL. So we're going to do a couple lines of code for doing that. So I already opened up Java documentation, and inside here we have this class called URL, and it's in java.net. And one of the ways to build a URL is through a string. So we're going to go ahead and build an instance of the URL class. All right, it's going to want us to import java.net URL. And this guy probably throws an exception. So for right now, let's just throw it at the top level, just so we don't have a whole lot of try catches blocking up stuff. So any exception that happens, we're just going to throw right to the Java virtual machine. So here's our URL. Now, URLs have access. Let's see. What do we need? A URL connection. I think we want to read this with a URL connection. Or can we do that with a URL? I want to get an input stream from this guy. Here we go. Open connection. That's going to be a URL connection. All right. And it's going to want us to import java.net.URL connection. Actually, kind of an important thing here. sun.net.www is the first thing that pops up. We want the java.net version of this. So there's our URL connection. Then I think we can open that.
Did you already open it?
Well, I want an input stream.
Something from the URL, I think you have the
At which object?
at the yeah.
This guy? We have a get.
It's not like it's open something else.
Let's see, at URL, I don't think there's an open. Get content?
Open stream.
Oh, yeah, that's what I want. So we didn't need the connection. So I want is a scanner input is equal to new scanner the URL dot open stream. So that's the same scanners we used before for reading from system.in, which is the default input stream, except we're going to read from this URL. Then we should be able to print out input.nextLine, which should give us everything it read from that, which hopefully is a wall of JSON. Oh, are you telling me it does carriage returns? Great. Okay. Let's make sure this spits it all out, then we'll put it into a string.
It does 2 characters.
Yeah. Question is, why can't I scroll back up to the top?
That is it. Oh, yeah, maybe
It's printed out twice. So I get this, I get the header information, then I get this. I can't scroll back up in there. Not important, but just interesting that I can't. So I'll create a string called result. Start this off as the empty string. And then we'll say result plus equals this guy. So we'll just build that JSON object. And then spit it out. So hopefully result holds the entirety of our JSON. Okay. So that's our whole JSON string that came through there. Now, one thing to notice is even just reading in data from my small wallet, that took some time, correct? Because we're relying on Blockchain.info's API to feed us data. Well, if we were doing this for a United States presidential vote, there's going to be a lot more transactions, right? So chances are it's going to take even more time. So we're probably going to want a more reliable source, or at least we're going to have double checking for multiple sources. But certainly this is something that we're looking at for accuracy, not performance. All right, so this should fill in result with our JSON string. Now, we want to have a way of parsing this JSON string. So we're going to look at this project called Json Simple, which is at code.google.com/p/json-simple. So if you just did a Google search for Json Simple, you probably would find it. Okay, and we're going to look at the decoding examples here in a second, but first we're going to look at how do we get this into Eclipse. So over here on the left, you're going to download JSON Simple 1.1.1.jar. Okay, that's a Java archive, and I think I have it downloaded to downloads. Clearly. Looks like it never actually finished downloading it. Let's try downloading it again. Okay, finished that time. So here's my JSON Simple. This is -2, this particular one. All right, so I'm going to go into Eclipse. Okay, we're going to right-click on, so actually I don't think, we don't right-click on it here, that's Xcode. So we go up to File, I go to Import. I'm going to import an archive file. I think this is how we do it in Eclipse. So I'm going to go to my downloads. Here's the file we just downloaded. We'll hit open. We'll hit finish. And it went ahead and gave us this package called org.json.simple.parser. Brought it into our project. Okay? So now that we have that, we should have access to the JSON Simple stuff. So let's go into the documentation for JSON Simple, and we're interested in decoding some JSON. So let's go to Decode Json. So all this crap up here is just them creating a sample string to to parse. So their S here is equivalent. Let me make this a little bit bigger. We can read that. Okay. So their S here is equivalent to our result variable that has all of our JSON in it. So we're going to create a new object that's going to be a JSON value dot parse. Okay, so here we'll just steal that line of code. And we're going to parse result. And notice it wants to import something for JSON value. And we're going to import org dot.
Was it calling JSON value as a class?
It is. So in order to know about that class, we have to import this org.json. That'll give us what we needed. Simple. JSON value is in one of these. All right, I'm not importing the right thing here. Let's use our JSON parser.
If you use the build path instead,
Yeah.
then it
Okay,
is external John.
got it. Let's see if this shows up first of all. No, it didn't. So get rid of this and add it to your build path instead.
Yeah.
And I want to link a source.
Add external archive.
Oh, add a to archive. Then we'll find the same archive in downloads. Reference libraries. So now it knows about that guy. And just out of curiosity, I want to know what it thought we needed to import there. org.json.simple. Okay. So by our first example, we'll parse that. It's starting to pull out these arrays. If you look at the code it built here, they built an array of objects, where the first object is a simple value, the second object is a JSON object, so on and so forth. Okay? So they went through and did it one step at a time here. In their second example, they created a parser object, took the same input string, parsed it using that parser object, which is the same thing as we did above, and then they know what the data looks like. So what I want to do is I want to look at what OBJ is that comes out of there initially.